And with that, we'll get started. And what I'll be doing is sharing my screen off and on so I don't give things away with scores. So hopefully I won't mess this one up. So I'm going to share my screen now. And do you all see an image up there?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so we're going, this time we'll start with Class A. We did Class B last time to start, and we'll do nature. I have the image title. We'll run through them. I'll show you what the awards were for that group, and then we'll move on. And we'll go through them all again at the end with everybody's name on it. So I'll let you concentrate on the images as we scan through. So this is Class A, Nature. Follow the stream. You'll see the title in the upper left corner of your screen. Please, I am praying. Falling for you. Beauty of nature. Look at us. The family. A walk in the park. A face in the crowd. Ravenskill Falls. I'm going to stop screen sharing for a moment. And I'll come back and so this is awarded honorable mention, Follow the Stream by Ginny Lodge. Third place was Please, I'm Praying by Ginny Lodge. Second place, I Walk in the Park by Lee Reeves. And first, Rick Shea, Ravenskill Falls. So congratulations to that group. And thank you, judges. And I'll stop screen sharing for a moment and bring up the next Class B, Nature. One of the images got rejected by the software. It was, the nomenclature was wrong, so I apologize. There's nothing we can do about that. There's no fixing. If they're not submitted properly, they get kicked out by the software. So this is Class B, Nature, Fall in New Hampshire. Cedar Wax Wings. Fall Colors. Bougainvillea Trumpets. Portaluca Buds. Octorara Heron. Puff. Is this working okay for folks?
Yep.
Okay. And the judges picked Fall Colors by Karen Lay as honorable mention. Third place, Octorara Heron by Bob Gross. Second place, Fall in New Hampshire, Brian Hare. And first place by our judges, Puff by Bob Gross. Congratulations, folks. And now we'll go to Class A. Pictorial. The Pagoda. On an Adventure. Sapsucker. Dreaming. Swirl. In a Glass Darkly. Rowers. Winter into Spring. And our judges picked for honorable mention, Sapsucker by Ginny Lodge. Third place, In a Glass Darkly by Lee Reeves. For third place. Second place, Ivan Bubb, The Pagoda. And first place, Rick Shea, Winter into Spring. Of note, Rick got both first place awards for Class A. Congratulations to you folks. And now Class B pictorial. Jenny, give me a hand. Tell me what the special topic, the assigned topic was?
Wasn't it creativity? That's why they are a more unusual set of images than we might normally have for pictorial.
Thank
The
you.
assigned subject was creativity, I think.
There we go. Is that right?
Isn't that what it was called?
Yes. Yeah, anything goes.
Yeah, anything goes, right,
Or
okay,
manipulation.
right. So this is Class B, pictorial, anything goes, thank you. Knox and Mixon, sunrise with Venus and the moon. Haunted bridge to nowhere. Hmm. Sky blue cornfield. Sunday drive. Flowers. Leaves. "2020. Honey, I'm home. And for the last time, we'll switch off and then back on again. And I'll bring you back in. Honorable mention by the judges, Honey, I'm Home, Bob Gross. Third place, Haunted Bridge to Nowhere, Brian Hare. Second place, Leaves by Karen Lay. And first place, 2020 by Bob Gross. So thank you, judges. Thanks to everyone for participating. And what I thought we would do is go back And we can review the images in the same order and let the judges make comments if they would like to. And if anyone from the audience, the members want to have any constructive comments, or the artists want to say how they got their image, what they did for it, et cetera. The data from Lightroom is here. I'm going to leave this up. It has some exposure information, things like that, some of the metadata. So I'll have you take it away to our three judges, Tom Stoeri, Larry Stamm, and Joanne Stamm. Thank you for judging.
Sure, no problem. So starting with this one.
Yes, please.
So I thought this had a lovely tonality, and the leading line was particularly good, leading you right back into the back fall. And I really gave that a good score, along with the tonality of the image.
Okay. This one is Follow the Stream by Ginny Lodge. Ginny, any comments at all? Is this a single image?
Yeah, that's a single image. Mhm.
Nature.
Yeah, it's nature, so it's not an HDR. I think I
Right.
set the camera way down on a rock to get that angle.
Where was it, Ginny?
This was,
French Creek.
I forget the name of the place. No, it was up near Harrisburg somewhere. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the place.
Maybe put it in the chat box if you think of it, Ginny.
I will. Yeah, I will.
As a non-judge, just to make some comments overall, just a couple things to notice in scanning through these. A few with some sensor dust, and just to be aware of that. And not really a horizon issue, but that's also a key thing to look at when you're submitting your images. Some of the highlights in some of the images are a little bright, and I would suggest just being aware of trying to balance your lighting and lead the eye into the image. My only comment here, Ginny, would be maybe if we pick up these falls, this one looks a little light, but I wondered about lightening up a little bit with the highlights or the whites right in here, just to keep the eye moving back. Just my own little comment.
This was up at Lock 12, if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it was.
Please, I'm Praying by Ginny Lodge. Judges?
Yeah, from my standpoint, I thought, it was very good overall sharpness. For this close a macro shot, the depth was very good. I would have liked, I think, to seen the head cropped a little bit differently and more at a 1/3 point. I think it could have put it up with the upper left point a little bit, but that was just a comment.
Cutting off the antennas, Tom?
Well, it depends what you're going for, I guess. Yeah, I just thought the eyes dragged it in a little bit more and kind
I
of
just couldn't bear to cut his antenna off.
yeah.
That hurt.
To me, it's the eyes. So
Yeah.
because otherwise, there's an awful lot of dead space around it, and it's just that's my comment.
Mhm.
Larry or Joanne, anything?
I like that you can see every little nodule on the antennae. The way I'm looking now, I didn't even notice this before when we were judging, but I see it now. Very, very sharp. And also, Vince, did you get written comments? I know we sent in written comments to you.
I did, but let me see. Let me look those up. I thought maybe you would verbalize them. Give me a half a minute to pull those up. I'll go to the next image and let me find the comments.
So this and I thought it was, I'll wait till Vince is done searching here.
My Excel's opening up.
I thought this had a nice exposure, but for me, the bright highlights in the lower third distracted from the image.
Down here,
In the lower third, yeah.
oh, lower third, okay.
The lower third of the image. So that, I mean, I don't know whether you could have done much more other than maybe put a little shading down there, but to me, that's, you know, it distracted from what I think the subject was.
I think that was probably done. I probably could have done more down in here. I see what you're saying. That was up from Centralia area. Critiques. There we go. Let me just print this out and then I'll refer to it. Nice exposure, bright lower third detracts.
Yeah, those are my comments.
They're yours.
Yeah, I have them up here, Vince. You don't need to print those.
Okay, sorry about that, folks.
No comments. No,
Oh, here we go. I think I got it now. Yeah, here we go. Sorry. Okay. Let's see what Larry and Joanne said. Sorry for the delay. Too cluttered, no center of attraction. I like the orange color. Beauty of Nature by me.
Well, I thought the exposure again was very good, but I didn't see a real there wasn't any real composition to it. I thought you could get tighter to the subject and take maybe a slightly different perspective and get rid of some of the background clutter.
Okay.
darker, yeah.
And the other comment was that it felt like a snapshot. Look at Us by Ivan Bubb.
So I felt this was a little too high contrast. The grass is blown out, particularly in the lower part. I just felt it could have been a slightly softer image, and it would have been better.
I like the animals, and they're shot very well, but there are rather common animals. I like to see something that's a little unusual.
Tom, were you talking about saturation?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm talking about not necessarily color saturation, but just luminosity. it's a little too contrasty for me. I think there's, it's too dark in the chest areas, and the grass is too bright in the foreground. I thought the tonality could have been worked on a little bit.
Mhm.
Better exposure.
The Family by Ivan Bubb.
So for me, I thought this was a nice shot, but there's a lot of distractions around it. It's rather cluttered, and so my only comment was, you could have tried a wider aperture. I think you could have got the plane of the ducklings and the head of the mother in one plane, and then with a wider aperture, kind of blurred out the background more. Otherwise, it's a nice shot.
The other comment was sharp, good contrast. I think this is all pretty much the same focus as the body here. I think that's I think what you're saying, and the front here is a little distracting to me. Anybody else want to make comments to these? Speak up. A Walk in the Park by Lee Reeves.
There's good depth and sharpness. I thought there was a good progression from right to left. For me, here's an example of, you might have tried to flip the image left to right and see whether it felt better that way. Sometimes there's just a nicer reading, particularly in the Western culture, going from left to right. Hard to tell, but those are my comments.
Ooh,
Is that any better?
no.
Do you, Tom?
Well, it's different, they're headed to the right, so depends where your eye goes.
Yeah, it's better that way.
Yeah, I think the horizon gets messed up for some reason.
I was going to say it shouldn't be any different.
No,
I know, but it just feels that way.
I think I liked it better flipped, and I don't know if you could do that. Can you do that in a nature category?
Yeah, I mean, who's to know?
The elephants.
They're not gonna.
They would say, that doesn't look like me.
If you bring them in on the judging, I guess they would have a say, but otherwise, they look just as good.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other comment was great composition, very sharp. It was a shot at a nice low angle.
Yeah, I like
called
that
it-
angle.
I don't know if this is a bird or sensor dust right here. And to me, this was a little bright. This could have been toned down somewhat. It's just,
I think those are birds.
oh, even if it was a bird, I personally would take that out.
Yeah, there's a few.
It was the desert. There's probably dust on the lens.
A face in the crowd. Where is this, Lee?
Falkland, sorry, South Georgia Islands.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
So I like the attempt. I thought it was well exposed. I think I would have liked it to be a tighter crop with maybe the head at a 1/3 point instead of right in the center. I think the tighter crop would have gotten rid of some of the stuff at the top a little bit. I would make it more of a panorama. Well, you could play around with it a little more, but I think just think a little bit tighter would have been better. Still a nice shot.
Yeah, I think it's really a lovely shot myself.
I really like it too, Lee.
Thank you.
I'd like to go there.
Good place to go. There are so many birds and seals and there's abandoned whaling stations, which have got lots of rusty machinery. So if you like rusty machinery shots, it's great for that as well.
Of course.
The other judge comment was it was too crowded.
That's the point of the picture.
Yep, I'm just reading the comment.
Well, and yeah, if you
Raymond
turn,
Steele Falls by Rick Shea, the #1 spot.
I really loved the exposure. I thought this was just lovely light, lovely exposure. And I really liked the overall detail. I just think the composition was nice and the tonality from light to dark was very exceptional, very nice.
I love the colors.
Mhm.
It's hard to find anything wrong with that shot.
The lighting is wonderful. Your eye is pulled to the falls were the other comments. Lovely shot. I wondered about this being just a little bit shade of lighter, but it's a beautiful shot.
Happens to be the tallest waterfalls in Pennsylvania.
Really? Where, is that, where is it?
Delaware Water Gap, again, tallest, that between the three tiers, I'm told it's only a few feet shorter than Niagara Falls.
Wow. This is Class B. This is Brian Hare, Fall in New Hampshire.
I thought it was a nice exposure, good color. Thought the composition was nice.
This was a second place award. Your eye follows from the front of the picture to the end of the stream. Good colors and sky. Cedar Wax Wings by Brian Hare.
I thought it was good detail. It was well focused. The composition was reasonable, but I thought the background was too bright and it detracts. And a lot of times there isn't a whole lot you can do if you're trying to capture things other than to position yourself. Pay attention to where you're positioning yourself, if at all. You can find something that's got a darker background. It would help immensely.
Yeah, I was just stuck with what was there at the time. I mean, the whole background was all just empty tree branches and whatnot.
Yeah, I think concentrating on the bird on the left alone and, eliminating the one on the right would have improved it. Plus the background being very, very busy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I like that one there. I was just thinking the same, that probably just focusing on the one, and then you can just use that tree in the back as your background. Yeah, that something like that.
That is better.
Yeah, that is better. I agree.
This is has a huge amount of noise. The ISO is 6400. And on my screen, this would not be printable.
Yeah, I would agree. It was significantly cropped when I submitted it as is. So.
The other comments, it should have been cropped for just the bird on the left and the background is distracting.
Yeah.
The thing is, the cedar waxwings are kind of rare, so when you can get a picture of them, it's pretty exciting either way.
Yeah, we had about, it must have been 100 or 150 of them come through Lake Knockemix, and they were in my backyard, so I shot them when I got them.
Yeah, they come and they go very quickly, and they do come in flocks like that.
Yeah.
And they
Byron.
love berries.
Go ahead, Jenny, sorry.
They love berries, so he caught them in exactly a very natural situation for cedar waxwings.
Brian, why did you pick such a high ISO? Did you need the 640th of a second?
Yeah, it was getting pretty dark.
No, your shutter speed is high. Did you need that high shutter speed?
I think it might have been I forgot to kick the ISO down, to be honest. It was like a hurry up panic. They were coming through my backyard. I was standing on a picnic table. So it was probably more excitement than focus is where I probably goofed up there. But.
Fall Colors by Karen Lay, honorable mention.
But the color was very good and the reflections were nice. To me, the dead branches in the middle, were kind of detracted from a very nice setting. I don't know there's a whole lot you could do about it, but it's what the picture is. And that's where you get judged. So, but it's a nice exposure.
The other comment, I like the reflection from the judges. My comment, I'm not sure about the white balance in here. It's a yellow pretty yellow tint, and I might have cut this little bit out here. But I'm not sure about the white balance. A little
Well,
cooler.
if it was late in the day, I don't know if you've been noticing lately, but late in the day when that sun comes down and it hits those things, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
It is really very warm like that.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't like cooling it down to here. Didn't work, but I don't know if it's.
It was real late in the day. It was like
Mhm.
right at sunset.
Yeah.
That's what make it look warm like that.
The only thing you might have been able to do with all the branches and so on was to try and move left or right to move them with regards to the fall color in the background. If you could.
Yeah.
How about that, Tom?
No, I don't mean cropping so much, Vince, as to position
Yeah.
yourself more left or right.
Yeah, I can't do that in Lightroom.
Sort of.
Was that Speedwell Forge? Was that where you were at,
No, that's Lisa Lake.
Lisa Lake? Because Speedwell Forge looks like that. All the dead trees out there.
I think this part is part of my favorite part of the image right here. Myself. So I would be looking at an image composed of.
Well, you're getting tighter on it, and that makes it not quite so distracting. Then the lines become more interesting.
Right.
Hey, Vince, what if you what if you did the bottom up that far, but make it free so you can do it whatever shape you want,
Right.
custom, and then drag the left all the way over, make it more pano-y.
16 by 9.
I like that because then you get rid of all that muck that was in the water in the foreground. Bring that.
I didn't like the foreground, but
Yeah, that
Still
looks,
all that nice reflection too.
so this is a 16 by 9, but that brings you into some of this stuff. So I
yeah,
think freeform, you can come up.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah. Looks nice.
But then you really see that beautiful reflection and you're not
Yeah.
distracted by the other thing.
But I think a shot just in here would have been really great. Also,
Really pretty, Tracy. I mean,
Yeah.
Karen.
Thank you.
Bougainvillea trumpets, Maya Karen.
I just thought it was reasonably exposed. It's sharp in terms of point of interest. I thought the composition could have been worked better. You could try a different angle, make it off center a little bit, or come down to a tighter or lower angle. Use the color in the background to blur out more with a wider angle. There's some things you could try, but as it is, it's okay. But the composition is not really drawing you anywhere.
The other comment was only one flower is sharp. I would like to see more sharp.
This is a macro image. The flower is probably a 1/16 of an inch big. So really hard. Depth of field is very short. This is it.
That's why I was saying you could come down maybe lower and use the color in the petals in the background to become more blurred out and just provide a tonal background of color or something. Just try,
Okay.
try different angles.
So the other thing, the shutter, the aperture is a 1.8 aperture. So that's going to really limit the depth of field to this area right here. So f 1.8 at a 120th of a second.
Well, if you use that wide open aperture, you can get some very interesting abstract effects if you go down to a lower angle. If certain things come into focus, other things don't. It's something to play around with.
Yeah, very selective focus. Portulaca Buds by Mia Curran.
Portulaca.
Okay. Portulaca.
So here you got to pay attention to your backgrounds for me.
Mhm.
You could have moved a slightly different angle and gotten rid of that very bright background, which draws your eye away from the nice detail and so on that's in the bud that you were taking the picture of.
I love the drops on the bud to the left. And I think I would like to see more of that bud and have it sharper and forget the rest of it. I don't have much interest in the rest of it. Yes, and sharper, of course.
The other comment, in addition to the water droplets on one flower that were liked, there is such a small portion that is sharp. Again, this is an f1.8 aperture. Octorara heron.
I really like the light in this image. I thought the exposure was really nice. I thought a slightly tighter crop and less of the bright right side would have made it a little more appealing to me.
What would you have cropped this side here, Tom?
No, I would crop the other side since the heron's looking to the left. I would have come in a little bit from the right and maybe a little bit from the left too. But to me, that was a little more interesting.
I love the greenery on it. So, I mean, if you crop it, you lose a lot of that greenery. I love that part of it.
Bob, was the bird sitting on a branch there from the tree?
Yeah, this was almost dusk, and it was starting to roost, so it was sitting right in the vines. We were in a canoe, so we're shooting from the water.
Wow. I love the way the light's hitting it.
Yeah,
Bob.
that caught my eye because the rest of the scene was totally dark.
Yeah, I could see that shaft of light has come through and really lit that. I love how you captured that.
Yeah.
The lighting is very nice.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that from a canoe. That's one out of probably 10 that I fired off real quick. The rest were out of focus because I was tipping all over the place.
And that was a third place. And Puff by Bob Gross was first place.
I thought it was, it was nicely sharp, which is really what's drawing you to the image. And it was good exposure. I like the dark background, which kind of made the image. So, and I like the lines in the image. So it was a nice shot.
Very sharp, very good detail to it, were the comments.
But just to note, if you had a lighter background, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I agree. That dark background just really makes the whole thing pop.
And that just happens because the background is dark woods.
Well, it's also though something to look for when you're taking that shot and position yourself so that you catch that, because you can find shadows to use it, like you said. So just watch your backgrounds many times.
So we're back to Class A. This is Pictorial. Ivan Bubb shot second place. The pagoda.
Thought it was nicely done, nice vignette. And the monochrome, I think, is the more creative part, since this is now where you're getting quote unquote creativity as the subject. I was giving an extra point or so where it was obvious that there was good creativity.
The maker did an excellent job in bringing out the detail in the picture. The exposure is excellent. I like the way all the objects on the side are minimized. I wasn't sure what this was, Ivan. Is this a tree above the pagoda, or I'm not aware of that? Is there some artifact up there?
I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look at it again. I think it may be something on it may be an object on the top of the pagoda. But I'd have to look at it. I think it is something on the pagoda.
But this,
And since the sepia-like tone, I think of the antiquing, I'm not sure I would keep this in here, that white
Yeah.
line. And I'd also think about getting rid of the people myself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the thing is as straight as it could be. It seems tilted to me. But this side is higher than that side.
but
I don't
this,
know. Well, the posts of the pagoda sign in front of it seem to be fairly straight, so I wasn't quite sure.
this is, well, there's a vignette used here. Many times you think of a vignette as darkening around it outside. Here I've chose to use a light vignette, kind of complemented the picture.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that too. I think it goes with the sort of vintage image that he's portraying here. It's exactly what you would expect to see from that.
Okay. Actually, like this is just really zoomed in, but it's like a fish sort of
Oh,
thing
yeah.
up there.
So that's what's up there.
Yeah. on
Oh, I
either-
see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up here?
Yeah.
Look at Jeff's thing.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see because that's just really zoomed in, but it's kind of fish on the top
Huh.
pagoda there. I mean, that's was really zoomed in, but yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, you can kind of see the tail
Yeah.
Mhm.
a little.
I see it.
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing. What were you sharing, Jeff?
It was just on my iPad, so I held it up. Yeah. Too hard to switch.
No, you can see it.
Yeah,
Huh. All right.
that's what it is.
Well, mystery solved.
There we go. On an Adventure by Ginny Lodge.
I thought this was a nice composite. Jenny, I would have liked to have seen less of the out of focus bottom.
Mhm.
White line across the bottom. I think it just kind of cropped up a little bit. I know that gives it a little bit of depth, but to me it was distracting.
Yeah, I agree.
My eyes are drawn to the people and the different frosts there. So.
Mhm.
Big difference.
I think the picture is very busy. The subject is centered. I think the floor looks like a carpet.
Yeah.
Like other comments. So Ginny, this is obviously a composite.
Mhm.
There's an effect kind of like this in the Nick software, miniaturization. And when I first saw it, I wondered whether you had miniaturized it to look like it was an animation or little figures or something.
Actually, there are 3 different images there.
Yeah, the background, this and this.
Yeah, the sun was one image that was not taken here. The bark, that's actually tree bark with frost on it in an early morning frost. That I took very close up with obviously a really shallow depth of field. And then the children are my grandchildren that I took a different time walking, and I put them in the scene. So
It's a lot bigger when I saw them over at French Creek.
yeah.
I love the shot.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And I actually centered them on purpose. I realize it doesn't follow the rule of thirds, but I deliberately centered them.
That did, to me, I thought that was nice because there's a I don't know, a sense of space that gets developed there.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and-
why it's on an adventure. If you crop it too tight, then it doesn't feel so adventuresome.
I agree with you.
I have a comment, Jenny, that, where you had the frost on the bark and then beyond them, what was that? Is that the
That's
same
just more
thing?
bark. That's just, there is some tree bark that had come off from a big log that we had, tree that we cut down. And so the bark was just laying flat. It sort of opened out and was laying flat, and the frost just formed on it. So in the back, that's all the bark, but I focused on the closest, one of the close edges to get, and the sun actually was coming up. So it was lighting it like that, but that wasn't the actual sun at that time. But
I think that's a good point though, Jenny.
and then I even made it so like their feet are sort of in the frost and everything. It was kind of really fun to work on.
Yeah, when you make a composite and you stick a sun in there, you got to watch your sun angles, and it worked really well here.
Yeah, I actually added a little glow around them. So I maybe should have put a little more distinctive shadow behind them, but the whole thing is a little bit in the shadow because they're at the top of the ridge there. So
yeah, that's why I don't think it bothered me too much.
I really like them in the center of the shot because you have balance between the sun on the right and the bright spot on the left of the bark. It kind of gives you a triangle, and artistically, I like that.
Thanks, Pat.
Cropping it shorter, yeah, on the bottom, but I mean, it really says something that way. I love the shot.
Thanks.
I think it's exquisite. I love the composite work, Jenny, the background, and to further what Tom said about when you put a sun in a composite. I mentioned this during one of the lectures on composites. I forget where it was, within the last couple of weeks, that one of the things to be careful of is when you substitute a sky, is that the background, the clouds, etc., are sharp, but the mid zone is not sharp. And that's probably the number one flaw of sky composites, sky replacement. Was when Frank Kulczynski was talking. So obviously the mid zone here is out of focus, and you would not want a sharp sun with an out of focus mid zone. It can't happen in nature. And the glow through the frost with your replaced sky is great.
And that was my own. They were all my own shots, obviously, not
sure.
a fake sky.
Sap, and again, we can't composite other people's skies into our images. Sapsucker by Ginny Lodge. This got honorable mention.
I thought it was nice, but I didn't, Jenny, I missed what the creativity was.
Oh, well, if you zoom in on it, Vince, you'll see it's actually it has an oil paint. Can you zoom in on it? Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I actually took that into Photoshop, and if you look at it closely, you'll see that it's got the oil paint effect. It still looks natural until you zoom in.
Yeah,
I did a lot of work on this actually, and I actually added to the canvas because he was almost flying out of the scene when I took the picture. So that's about twice as wide as it was.
I think cropping it closer looks better.
You can't really see it on this screen.
Yeah, but I like the cropping.
What can you do?
He was real close to the edge, and I added all this over here. I don't know if you can tell that. See that I used sort of an oil paint effect on.
Yes, I can see that.
But cropping in shows that. So maybe the picture should be tighter for that purpose. Then it looks really cool.
That was the creativity aspect of it.
Yeah, this is at 400%. I mean, that you wouldn't be ever seeing it like that. This is
I didn't want to make it be the thing.
I guess Tom's saying it's a little not quite obvious enough. Or
to me, then I didn't give you any points for creativity because I couldn't really see it. I mean, when I zoomed in a bit, I saw there was something there, but it wasn't, it didn't have any impact like the previous one.
Okay.
Jenny,
Well, Jenny,
what about the marks on the pole?
Oh, that's an actual natural log that I found in my yard. It was some kind of a fungal growth on there.
Oh, okay.
And I had that pole, if you saw my backyard bird photography thing, I actually had that that log on my back deck, and the sapsucker was on it and pecking it. I took a lot of pictures when he was in a normal perch mode, but when he turned to fly away, I snapped one shot, but he, like I said, he was almost out of the picture. So I
I
added in
wasn't
more
sure if that was
sky
your
and-
creativity or not.
well, I think
Well, Ginny, I have a question. Did you intentionally want his tail to be tucked right up against the post there?
well, he was, his feet were on there and he turned to fly away, and the next shot he was out of the picture. So
Okay, so there's your feet there. Okay, I thought it was just that you were just the tail. That was the tail itself, you know.
no, he
You know,
actually
it
was
was-
on there and he turned to fly away, and I snapped the shot right there. So
Got it. Okay.
That's his foot here, isn't it, Ginny?
Mm-hmm.
well, one foot is there. Oh, actually, yes, his feet are, his tail's there. His one foot is up here, the other foot is down below, as Vince is pointing it out. And his feet had just let go. And that's when I,
Okay.
Ginny, I'm not sure what was going on here, the redness, and then down here, this, I don't know if this is ghosting or not, or. is
no,
that
that's
done?
part of the wing. That's actually the
This
very
feather?
white edge of the wing.
Uh-huh.
I'm
How
a
about the
pic-
redness?
The edges of the wing were white at the ends, if you look at the sapsucker.
How about this red on his face?
Oh, that he has that on his face.
Dreaming
Hmm.
by me.
I thought this was nice layers and coloring. I wasn't exactly sure how many layers you had there, but I like the effect a lot. So I gave it an extra point or so.
The other comments, I think the picture is too cluttered. There is no center of interest. This is
Well, Vince, I could think you were down there at Middle Creek. I think I was there at the same time you took this. Because you and Ivan were there.
I was there with Ivan. I didn't hear who was that speaking?
Me, Marshall.
Oh, Marshall. Yes, that was the same day, Marshall.
Yep.
Yeah. What I found of interest was the layering, you know.
Yes.
And so that to me was the point of interest. The fact that there was, you know, a lot going on there was fine with me.
The layering effect happened. That's a composite of 3 images.
Well, that's why it's called dreaming, because it's got that dreamy quality.
Right.
I like it.
And the warmth at the top and the cool at the bottom, I like those. I like that juxtaposition.
Swirl.
It was okay for me, but you know, it's centered and it didn't appeal to me as much as others.
The other comment is I don't think the branches add to the picture. This was a camera shooting straight up to the sky on the tripod and then rotated actually during a 1/5 second exposure. Shooting straight up. So intentional camera movement.
Right.
Vince, I think since it's so abstract, you could have really pushed the saturation. Just push it over the top. Because the color itself would have added, I think, a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
You really mean saturation? That's the saturation.
Yeah. Because you know, it's such an abstract. Why not just push it over the top with the color?
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
I actually like the branches in there. I think they ground it, and then because they stay in one place, sort of, and then the leaves sort of float around it.
Yep.
I found it actually interesting that the branches, the tree form stayed where it was. And I think it was because I was shooting up the tree trunk and it didn't move as much as the leaves
Yeah.
did.
You know, Vince, I almost thought that you had actually done a composite there with just the tree separate, but I see it's just one, just as you were just rotating it.
Yeah, it took 3 clicks to get all the way 360 around in the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just turned until the shutter stopped and then turned again and then turned again with the cable release. So it was 3 shots to get around most of the time. Sometimes sometimes 2 shots. It was fun taking it. In a Glass Darkly by Lee Reeves, this got 3rd place.
For me, I thought it was interesting, but I found it hard to follow. I mean, for me, it may have just been me, but I couldn't quite figure out where I was to look and go in the image. That was part of the problem. And it's a nice exposure and it's sharp.
The other comments by the judges, busy upper left corner pulls your eye away from the point of interest. I like the reflection and its detail. Lee, I didn't understand how, why is the sign upside down?
Well, because I'll tell you the story. It's from a restaurant on the top of a building next to St. Paul's in London. And it was raining. And as I looked over the edge, I noticed that St. Paul's was reflected in the shiny metal roof. So I turned the camera upside down and took it that way. And I kind of made it so that you had those lines leading off to the rest of, you can't see my fingers, leading off to the rest of the London reflection. Yeah, so it is hard to understand. I left the sign at the top in so that if you look carefully, you could see that it was upside down, just in case you thought it wasn't very creative.
Is this Big Ben?
No.
No, it's another church. I think it might be Bow Bells or something. Not sure, but it's not. No, Big Ben's more to the right.
These lines to me were exquisite. What's going on here, bringing you into here, and then out that way. This was a little bright to me here, and I wasn't sure what this blue up here is. I would have taken that out. I love this shot myself.
Yeah, I thought this was striking. When I saw it, I thought, oh man, that's a winner right there.
The title, I don't know if you got the title, but it's from St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And so I thought St. Paul's a bit dark, reflection.
Perfect.
Rowers by Lee Reeves.
I like this one. I thought it was a nice composite, and it's more of a minimal composition. So it's kind of nice.
The other comment, to me, it is too blurred.
Maybe they misunderstood.
Isn't that the whole point?
Yeah. It's a nice abstract. That doesn't bother me at all.
I thought this trail here was just incredible. This is great. I love the movement and the shooting up through at a diagonal. My one comment was there's some sensor dust, dirt, and I would have taken this white line out. I'm not sure what's going on with the blue up here, Lee. The darkness, but this white line and that spot there bothered me. But I think this is a great abstract.
Thank you. I need more attention to detail with the spots, obviously.
So just as a shortcut or a little quick tip for those who use Lightroom, if the spot clone tool is on and you hit visualize spots, that's a dust spot, that's a dust spot. Here's a dust spot. This might be one, that might be one. So you can.
Okay, enough. I get the.
No, I'm demonstrating the tool, the visualize spot tool.
Yeah.
He's being helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Lee, were you actually on a bridge looking down and they were passing underneath?
No, it's our apartment. It's on the edge of the river that runs through Melbourne, and rowers practice on it every day. And so was a nice sunny day, and I'd been talking to Vince about clever effects, and so I decided to leave the aperture open for, I think it was 1.5 seconds, and that was the effect.
I liked it. I think it's good.
Vince, where was that tool at? Point that out to me again, please.
You have to have the clone tool on up in the upper right.
This
And
is in
then-
Lightroom?
Yes,
Yes.
this is Lightroom.
Okay.
So this is the clone tool. Can you see where I'm at in the upper right?
The spot
And then
removal tool,
Then you turn on visualize spots.
which is down on the
And then
left side.
And there's a slider. If you don't want to see anything, you turn the slider down.
Yep.
And Leo will be happy. And if you want to see,
Yeah,
as you
that's-
turn the slider up, the sensitivity comes up, and you can see this spot that you're not going to see. So well, now you can see it. It's right there.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't aware of that.
But it's a very, very, very good way to not kick yourself after you've done a print, and you say, "Oh man." So I don't send anything out to Dan Berg for printing without doing that, and then you can very easily now see you got rid of your spots.
Sure.
It's a great tool.
Mm.
First place, Winter into Spring by Rick Shea.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice creative composite, and I liked the tonality. It might have been slightly deeper black level, but I just kind of liked the effect as it was.
This was a combination of a photo shoot I did with the wife last winter, and a tree that caught my attention in the neighborhood that was in full bloom. And while it wasn't my intent initially to combine these, it was something possessed me to try to pull these two together. And then I did use a Nik Effects Pro filter to try to pull off the consistent tonality.
The
Really
big-
well done.
Big question is, what does your wife think of it?
She thought actually, when I just told her I was on mute, I told her that it came in first place. She just laughed. My kids nor my wife thought this was a good picture.
Excellent
I'm glad
detail.
they're not judging.
Exactly.
Excellent detail, perhaps a little too centered. Very imaginative composite were the judges' comments.
Thank you.
Tom, to emphasize the black, are you talking about like this?
Yeah, but I think if you pull it down, it just takes away from the image. So I kind of like the glowy effect of it by leaving it up a bit.
Okay. And then the last group, Class B, Pictorial. Noxamixon Sunrise with Venus and Moon by Brian Hare.
I thought it was a nice picture, but from a creative standpoint, and given the title, I didn't feel it really had that impact. So a nice sunrise, but I wasn't sure what the creativity was.
I had
I
the
was
same
I was
thought.
questioning that too. I saw the moon, but I didn't see Venus anywhere.
It's a little
Yeah.
dot.
It's a little dot upper
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
They should have been really big, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little hard with 16 millimeter to get that much bigger than.
No, enlarging and overlaying, maybe.
Oh, yeah, with multiple layers. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Other comments from the judges, I don't think it is an altered picture. In other words, I guess creativity. The red
All I had
sky
done mostly was smooth the water, Vince. That's about all I did.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This to me was a little blown out back in here.
Yeah.
That didn't bother me too much. It was nice, except I lost the creativity part of it. And
Haunted Bridge to Nowhere by Brian Hare.
yeah, this is a good exposure and a nice vanishing point, and the creativity part that I didn't feel real strongly about it. So
This was third place. Haunted Bridge. Give me a second. Here we go. Nice colors on the sides. Why is the exit lit up in part of the swirl?
So it was a long exposure and I moved the tripod to create the wave. So it was about what, I think 2.5 seconds or something like that. So
It
I
is
moved
2.5 seconds.
So the end of the tunnel is going to be overexposed, and then you get the movement, which would be, you know, okay, I guess, in terms of exposure.
Why didn't this blur?
Yeah.
Why didn't what blur?
The rights and left sides where it's relatively light, and you would have thought that would have blurred.
Because it had been already set in, baked in from the long exposure.
So you moved the tripod just at the very end, Brian?
If I recall correctly, yeah. This is in North Carolina. It's a rail bridge over a road to nowhere. The government had promised it was supposed to take it over the mountain in the Smokies, and they just stopped building it, after kicking people off the land.
No
So
surprise there.
it sees a lot of graffiti, as you could see. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I moved it at the end. But I'm wondering now if I moved it at the beginning.
I'm not sure it would make a difference.
It wouldn't.
I think it would be cool if that white light would be like swirled, like coming to you, coming to the viewer. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like a corkscrew kind of thing going to the end of the tunnel. I think it would be, you know, like Twilight Zone kind of thing.
I think you need a lot longer than a 2.5 second exposure then to do that.
Yeah, I would probably need to go further into the tunnel. It was pitch black in the tunnel. This is towards the exit, you know, the one side. So that's why it got.
This adds to it, Brian. So if you were further in, you wouldn't be getting this intro to bring you in.
Right.
I'm just wondering if it's possible to do some sort of Lightroom work with that light to make it.
We could change the color.
I'm not knowledgeable about that.
To do what?
Talking about tweaking the solid circle at the end, or making the
Have like a
corkscrew look.
corkscrew effect with the light.
You mean to change the light? You could do that in Photoshop, but not in Lightroom.
Okay.
I like it. It just looks like a snake coming out of there or something, a serpent, or I don't know. That's what I saw. I liked it.
Thanks.
So did someone say they want it lighter? I mean, you can make it lighter. That's what I just did. So I don't know if people have used the HSL panel here in Lightroom. I assume people are using Lightroom that are on tonight. But if you wanted to increase or decrease the saturation or luminance of a specific color, you can grab this little picker here with the arrows up and down, pick the color you want. I'm putting the crosshairs on that greenish color, and then slide my cursor down. I'm sorry, my mouse down or up. So Lightroom is picking up that specific color and changing the luminance, and we can do the same with the saturation. So we can pick that color and anything that's related to it. I saw some changes going on to right and left.
Yeah, the ground's changing too.
Yeah, so anything that is that exact same color that you selected is going to change in saturation or luminance based on the little picker here.
Brian, I like that you did that in camera.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's what I did like.
Yeah.
Instead of moving the tripod, the other thing you can do is just keep the tripod steady and move the camera. And if you have a camera that's on a ball head, that makes, you can do all kinds of squigglies. Then you could move the camera in a circle and do all kinds of squiggly stuff with more control than just moving the tripod.
Yeah, that might have gotten me
random and less
less
predictable.
Yeah.
Sky Blue Cornfield by Mia Karen.
I wasn't sure where I was to look in the image. I wasn't sure what the story was for the image, and other than maybe replacing the sky, I wasn't sure what the creativity was associated with it. So
Other comments, it has too
That's-
much contrast and the sky does not look normal.
That was the shot I took. I didn't do any manipulation, so, except color.
okay,
So I would get rid of the contrail if it was me.
Yep, okay.
Or weight. And this is again an f1.8 second expo, or I'm sorry, f1.8. So it's pretty selective depth of field, and it looks like the focus must have been here on the sky. Sunday Drive, Mia Karen. So this was creativity under pictorial. I think that was the question that Tom raised.
yeah. And I had a similar concern here that, again, I was looking for something that was going to grab me from a creative standpoint. And while this is an interesting image from a creative standpoint, I didn't quite know what the focus was for the story.
The other comments, it has too much contrast, nice colors and good sky, but no center of attention. Flowers by Karen Lay.
I thought the lighting was a little harsh. You know, I don't know whether you could soften it a bit or drop the contrast a little bit. I'm not sure that would do it. I just think the lighting was rough. I think a slight glow, if you could put a glow on it, would help a little bit. You know, you can do that in post-processing. The background was interesting. I like that creative part of it.
Tom, I'm wondering whether that maybe it was too much dehaze. That may have
Yeah, it's possible.
a global dehaze may have done that harshness to it. The other judges comment, I don't think it is a manipulated picture. Should therefore be in nature, not pictorial.
Well, the background is.
Yeah, the background is all painterly.
Manipulated, yeah.
I personally really like this image. I thought this was really, I really liked it myself.
Yeah, I love how the flowers that are the main focus are in focus. And then I love how they sit on that background.
Yeah. Karen, is this a composite or?
It's the background I created totally in Photoshop. I selected, and I don't think I could do it again, but I selected the whole flower and then I made a paintbrush out of it. And then I kind of dabbed it on like a blank canvas. And then I picked the colors out of the red flower and the green stem and the yellow. And I put the paintbrush in slightly different colors. And then I just put that as a background behind the flower.
Now, that was really, really creative, Karen. I love it.
Thank you. It took forever and I really don't think I could do it again.
Sure you could, Karen.
It would come out different.
You're on to something.
You don't have to do the same thing ever again, Karen.
That's true.
So this is also Karen. This is second place, titled Leaves.
This one, I just had the leaves setting on a piece of black felt. And then I had the camera on a tripod and I just moved the zoom lens.
I thought you zoomed that. Okay.
Yeah.
Down in these lines here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I gave an extra point for creativity. I thought that was a good part of it.
Other comments, it's well done, very nice exposure. I like the swirl effect, good colors. The one thing that keeps coming, like I keep coming back to, I'm not sure what's going on here. I thought initially my Lightroom was missing some pixels or something, but this is persistent and it's whatever it is a little distracting to me.
Background.
Yeah, it's too symmetrical. I mean, why is it cutting out this leaf here?
It's the two leaves hitting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I
creates
think
a
it's
square.
just a leaf shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could paint it over with another leaf.
No, it's not a dust spot, Vince.
No, it's just a leaf.
It's the two leaves making that
Yeah,
form.
I see that. It's just a little
But-
distracting to me.
But you could soften it
or clone it out. Very roughly done. I would have liked to see the zoom lines a little bit more defined myself, but it's a nice image for sure.
I could give you one with more lines. I had like lots and lots and lots.
Yeah, it's impossible to tell how they're going to turn out when you're doing that.
Yeah,
Very nice, Karen.
thanks.
And 2020,
Creativity.
perfect.
So
First
creative.
place, appropriately so. Comments?
Yep. Well done.
Very
I wasted-
imaginative was the
I
other.
wasted a lot of time on this.
I think it was worth it.
Who's the model?
I thought that would give me away. That's me.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Oh, too, is Bob.
With the little photoshopping. But most of that's just in camera. That's just me pushing the drill into a balloon between the vise, and then I composite my face into the balloon.
Clever idea.
Right, were the goggles on the balloon, or did you add the goggles?
They were on the balloon, but I had to do a lot of layering to bring them back out. So
Yeah.
I had the goggles on the balloon. The 2020 wasn't obviously there, and the spin of the drill wasn't there either, because if I would have turned the drill on, it would have popped the balloon. So
Well, there you go.
or popped my head. Yeah. So that was a blur added in Photoshop. But I don't have any pictures of myself, and my family won't allow me to put their pictures in competition. So I had to use myself just with my laptop camera. So it's a really bad picture of me.
Yeah, but
there are no good pictures of me.
You have the balloon tail.
Yeah, that was there. Yeah.
Very
I love
clever.
that.
Honey, I'm home. Bob Gross.
Oh, that is my wife.
So in reference to that, one of the judges said, I would like to see the face.
Well,
The image is touching the top and the bottom. Is the
Yeah.
other comment?
if her face was in there, she wouldn't allow me to put it in there. So I had to I had to darken her face.
And that got honorable mention. Tom, do you have any comment on that one?
No, it's good creativity. I mean, for what it is, it was nice.
That's light painting in the background, so that's not Photoshop. That's just me waving a red, white wand around behind her. So she was just standing at the top of the stairs. I wanted her to hold my chainsaw, but it was a long exposure, and she couldn't hold it that long.
You had to settle for a machete.
Yeah, so I brought my machete out. Yeah, so.
They were fun.
Yeah, it was good.
I appreciate the judge's effort. As I said at the start of this, at this point, we're not planning competitions for 2021 because we haven't had someone step up to take over competitions. We may consider doing, if the board wants, the PSA critique session, but that was not without work. And we need someone to do competitions if we're going to have it for 2021. And anyone wants to join up Thursday night's Zoom talk at 7 o'clock with the Education Committee, send me an email, please. And I guess that would be it. If anyone, you can unmic yourself if you want and speak up.
Vince, what's the PSA? I think I know what it is.
Photography Society of America.
Oh, okay.
They do, we had them do June, I think it was, for judging with critiques. A lot of the members weren't extremely pleased with the judges. There were 2 of them, but they didn't, let me put it this way, they didn't agree with the judges so much based on the comments that were made to me from the members. But it was an activity. It was, you know, the judges worked hard putting their critiques together. Unfortunately, they did not want to have a taping of them talking. They weren't interested in doing it live, and they wouldn't tape it. So it was, I had to read their comments, and that's all we had. So that was not ideal. So, but at any rate, they do offer it once a year. So that is a potential source for us to have competition, but unless we get someone to run competitions, that'll be our only source. One thought was to have a few competitions and have outside judges, because begging the members, the Class A members, to be a judge was much too onerous of a task. And we made a regulation this year that you had to, as a Class A member, if you wanted to continue to submit, you had to be a judge. Otherwise, next year, 2021, you will not be eligible to submit for competition. And you also had to do that to be part of the Michael Day International Competition that happens in January. You would have had to have been a judge for 2020. But so it was not easy getting people to be judges often. Often it was not easy, sometimes it was. So that's also part of it.
Vince,
You look
can
like you would be perfect for judging for the competition chair.
Who would be?
Bob.
Oh, thanks.
I think you can do it, Bob.
Well, it's virtual, so you can't throw things at me, but
You were able to drill a hole in your head without popping the balloon, so there's something there.
Yeah, that's saying something.
And sometimes that's how we feel as we're encouraging people.
yeah, but see, now everybody hates Tom. Everybody hates Tom now, so I'm not going to go through
Oh,
it.
no, we don't.
No, we love Tom.
I love hearing constructive criticism.
Yeah, me too.
I wondered, Vince, if you could, while Bob ponders whether he's going to take that position, I wonder if you could explain a little, what are the images that are happening in the December competition? Are you going to give to Henry Rowan any image that placed throughout the year?
Yes, it'll be Class A and Class B separate. It'll be all the images that placed 1, 2, 3, and honorable mention, 1 or 2, or whatever we had for nature and pictorial for Class A and Class B. They'll be blinded to him, and then he'll pick the best of Class A, Class B, nature and pictorial. And the highest scores were allowed 15 entries max for the International Michael Day competition, which our club has been intermittently involved in for, I don't know, 10 years or so. I'll do a little write-up on the history of that. Michael Day was the founder of a camera club in Europe, after he died, he ran a competition, and after he died, the group named this competition after him. And Dean had asked me when he was president if I would follow up with that. And it's been a couple-year process trying to get the Europeans interested in doing it. And now we think England's not positive because of COVID. They're going to let us know, but we believe there will be four or 5 countries in it. And the judge is from Italy. I'll have a write-up in one of the newsletters. There's a whole protocol that they've been following for this thing. New Zealand, no, not New Zealand, Finland, Norway, UK. I forget all the countries that have been involved. So the winners of the December thing with Henry will be 15 of them. The top 15 scorers will go to that competition.
And what do they get from that then? What does that give? What do you get from that competition?
Well, there'll be an award of first, second, third, and 2 honorable mentions, just on paper. Congratulations. We'll shake your hand when we can. So there's no fee to enter from the club's point of view. There's no monetary award. It's just a recognition.
Yeah,
It's past your bedtime right there, Mia.
Yeah.
Any other questions for folks or by folks? Anyone who wanted to hang on, who had a Lightroom question? I'm no expert, but I might be able to answer a Lightroom question or two if you had something simple.
Well, just one quick one there, Vince, and that is about the dues for 2021. And haven't heard too much about that. So anything,
Jeff still on?
Yeah, I'm still on.
I'll give you that one, Jeff.
Yeah, so, and Larry, could you stay on a minute? Just,
Yeah,
we're
sure.
done, yeah. Yeah, no, dues will be as usual. The only thing you won't get and mailing like usually happen. You won't get a targeted email specific to you, but we will have in the newsletter about dues being, at time, kind of like we did last January, because I think there were a couple issues with the letters when they went out last year and not everybody got them. And then we said, let's just stop that. That's too, it's not worth it. So let's just get it in the newsletter, say dues are due. We'll give the link, just click on the link, renew, and that's about it. We'll also have an address that you could mail a check if you don't want to do it online like usual. I mean, we used to have it, bring it to the club or whatever. That won't happen because you can bring it, but nobody's there. So other than sliding it under the door, nobody will get it. So it'll either be mail or I'd encourage just doing it online.
And the price is the same, Jeff, right? $50?
Price is the same. And it'll also be, if you don't renew by the end of January, then we'll assume that you're not rejoining. And there won't be follow-ups and many encouragements to keep going. It's just keeping it simple for us all. We'll have plenty of time because it's 3 months between now and end of January about. So it'll just be join and we'll do it from there. So does that answer what you need?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just going to say, I guess there's nothing really going on at the Goggle Works then, right? They have nothing going. It's not even open.
Oh, they do. They have
some
activities
things there. Yeah, they have some
Okay.
things starting.
In reference to what we have going on, I have scheduled speakers once a month from January 18 to through June 21. So for the first 6 months, we have some very big time speakers, all by Zoom. So I think people will be very happy with the conference schedule. You'll see that in a newsletter coming up in the next month.
Well, I think you, Vince, and some of the others who have been involved in getting the speakers have done a great job. They've been just terrific.
Yeah, we're from a workload perspective and a help perspective, we're doing one main speaker a month. And again, that's what I've already scheduled now. And we'll need club members to step forward to run other sessions other than those third Mondays of the month outside speakers that I'm setting up or have set up already. And Charlie asked the question, so was this considered the last competition for 2020? The answer is yes, because the December competition is coming from the earlier competitions of the year. Anything else?
One other question, Vincent. I guess this is the fact too that we are going to bi-weekly then for 2021.
Right now we're going monthly.
Just monthly, okay.
Well, it'll be up to the committee. We'll talk about that on Thursday. What I agreed to do again this year was to get the outside speakers, and we're doing that once a month. Club members will have to take on the responsibility of doing other talks. We need, as a club, we need club members to be active. So we need members to take on the responsibilities of organizing other activities for the club, as opposed to a few people. So other activities, I have about a half a dozen things in mind that people, if they want to take up the lead and want to do them, we'll have the first Monday of the month would be the next one that we would schedule, say demos or members doing talks. So it'll be up to other people to step forward and help run those kinds of things. And that's what we're talking about Thursday.
Okay.
If we don't have people stepping up, then we won't have other talks. Jeff, do you have anything to add about that?
No, you pretty well summed it up. Yeah, so please, and I mean, as we mentioned, we're just trying to figure out where we head from here. And this is just one way we need to adjust. As we talked before, those that have been involved on the board the last couple of years because of the things we've had to deal with are just, we need more help to do things. So we're kind of scaling back a bit, resetting, and see how we proceed from here. And I mean, a lot of the feedback was weekly was too much anyway. And I was surprised actually, but that was a bit of the feedback that we received. So we're starting with one a month. Hopefully we add a second a month. And like Vince said, that's what folks will talk about on Thursday. And
Thursday at 7.
yeah, so somebody says, I'll do February and May, great, or I'll find February and May, and I'll find January. Maybe some months we'll have 2, maybe some months we'll have 1. When we can start meeting again, maybe we use some of those other nights for live. Here we are going out and doing something, even if we can't be in the clubhouse yet, maybe it's folks arrange something and go to Grings Mill, or folks arrange something and do like we did the murals or whatever. We're open to a lot of things, but what it's just has to take is some folks to say, and I'll organize them. Not just Thursday nights, not just ideas, is ideas, and here's how I'm going to help.
Right.
Yeah.
If there's no here, I'm going to help, then that's the end of that discussion.
Yeah. So we're hoping.
I have some ideas, and hopefully other people have ideas, but we need someone to step forward and do something.
So we're hoping, cutting back makes it easier on everybody to start doing, helping out with that. So guess that's
okay.
All I can say it again and again.
So Vince, if you want to send me the invite,
sure.
Maybe I can be there on Thursday. I might have to bounce out of another Zoom meeting real quick, but I'd like to join you.
Great. Good to have you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the night?
No. So Vince, could you hold on a minute with Larry?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night,
Okay.
everybody else.
Everybody,
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Good night, all.
Good night. And thanks, Pat.
Yeah, you don't have to give me a call tomorrow, Jeff. We can just, just
sorry.
discuss now. No,
That's why I thought maybe just hang on.
Excuse me.
And since you mentioned in that about competitions, I thought maybe just hang on with Vince still on.
Yeah. Well, my thing, I talk to you. Have you gotten anybody to organize or to gather the images for the what is it, Penn State Health?
Not exactly. Unfortunately, Joel hasn't been very, he's in and out in engagement, if you will. So I'm trying to get him to help us help him. And at this point, I don't know where that stands. I put him in, you know what? Do you want to stop the recording, Vince?
Okay,